Hi everyone, I'm the Plant Propagator and welcome to my channel. Today I am back. I made it. I'm back in Southwest Florida, so everything is good as far as the flight goes, and I'm happy I tested negative for COVID, so I made it through okay. Got a little bit of congestion right now, but tested negative yesterday for the first day, so I was positive for about 12 days, which was a little bit of a surprise. I haven't tested myself today, but I do need to follow up with that. So everything's moved on, and I wish I could say everything is good, but I'm here in Southwest Florida, and there is a threat, a real threat of a hurricane. So it's right now forming. So right now it's just Tropical Storm Ian, but it'll soon be Hurricane Ian, and it's supposed to hit. I'm in Southwest Florida, and it's supposed to hit the west coast of Florida, just a little bit north of my location here. So we'll see how it goes. Right now, this is the calm before the storm, even though there are people that are. I was out shopping this morning, and people are prepared. The gas stations are packed as people are fueling up. There's no water to be found anywhere, and I hope I'm not taking this too casually, but everyone is preparing for Hurricane Ian that should be here in just a few days. For right now, though, my orchids are doing well. They're in pretty good shape. The dendrobiums that I have all around me, they're in peak bloom. At least the ones that right behind me are in bloom. And I'm sitting in front of a date palm that's in front of my house. So this one is the plants on this tree always do really well. And that's what's happening right now. So these dens are blooming. There's some dens on that side that are blooming. There, you can see a seed capsule maybe that has a tag attached to it that is right here behind me. And that seed capsule is about ready to go. This plant's put out another bloom spike. I've got a clone of that plant that's on the second date palm behind me that is blooming now, and it's a really nice bloom that's coming out on that other tree. So the dens are all doing well. The monster fowl that I've shared with you in the past, that is right behind me, and it's putting out, it's going to be big again, so it's putting out, right now at least, the first of the bloom spike, and it's behind me, it's about maybe 1.5 feet tall right now, not showing any signs of putting out any kind of flowers yet. So I assume it's going to be big, just like it has in the past. What I want to do is, I wanted to show you these dens, but what I want to do is take you and look at some of the orchids that are in the backside of my house and in my orchid pergola. And the interesting story is that there were some blooms that I missed, and I had 2 plants bloom that I'd never seen bloom before, but they bloomed and the blooms faded all while I was gone. I took a look at these, and I've got a webcam that where I can see in a general sense what my orchids look like behind my house, but the resolution of that webcam is not very good. So I saw some real bright colors coming from my orchids. I thought it might have been a pot, but I came back here and there were faded blooms. So I missed blooms on some of my plants. I also had some plants fall, which was a little disappointing. In one of the plants, another plant that I'd never seen bloom that is still blooming, it did fall and it knocked a few of the flowers off. But this kind of stuff happens. Apparently there was a lot of rain when I was gone, but I'd never had pots fall like that, and I had 2 of them. So I don't know whether animals got up in there and kind of pushed them off or what was happening, but I had some pots fall and some flower spikes that were destroyed by that. But What I want to do is take a look behind the house and show you some, I actually have some blooms, and show you some of those and move on. Okay, so let's go take a look at some of my other orchids. Okay, and we're back. So these are some of my blooming plants that are in my collection. I wanted to show you a few of them. The first one is, I'm not going to take it down. This is Odom's Grand Delight, and this is one of my favorites. It's really nicely colored. It is, you know, even though I'm fresh out of COVID, I've got enough smell. My smell and taste are starting to come back, which is really good. But I can smell this, and it's really beautifully fragrant. This plant is nice. It's very vigorous. It blooms usually twice a year, and I actually use it in a lot of my crosses. The coloration is intensely fragrant, and it has a little flaring in the petals. So it is a really nice plant, and I came back to it where one of the bloom spikes was actually starting to fade a little bit, but then it had some new blooms that were open. So I'm really happy with this one, and I'm happy it's blooming and that it's fragrant. This is another one that I've shared with you in the past, and this is not yet fragrant, but it will be. So this is Ports of Paradise Emerald Isle. This is a really nice fragrant cat, or at least it will be in a little bit. I had a large plant of Ports of Paradise, and I split it, and I divided it, and maybe I was a little bit too harsh with my divisions, but it was a big plant and it was starting to rot, so it just kind of fell apart, which is unfortunate. I waited a little bit too long. But this is one plant that came out of it. It was repotted just in January, and it is September now. So a lot of the divisions of this plant are doing well. This is the first one to flower, and it's just a single flower on the plant, and they're a little small. I've also used this in some of my crosses. This is not a really good parent. So I use this as a seed parent, and I've got a few, maybe just a handful, or maybe a dozen or a couple of dozen of progeny of Ports of Paradise Emerald Isle. And you look online, and it typically is not a really good parent, and many of the progeny that are reported from Ports of Paradise look like Ports of Paradise, which mean that either they use very similar plants, similar flowers in the crosses, or they're not a real cross. My crosses are a little bit broader, so hopefully we'll have some additional features and characteristics. It has really a lot of nice features to it. The one that I like is that it is so vigorous in my hands. So this one's doing well. I've got a few more. I've got one right there. I've got about, I think, about 6 of these plants. But again, this is the first one to flower. Another one has a bloom spike that's starting to come, but it hasn't quite flowered yet. So that's what this guy is. I want to show you. Right here. I want to show you right here. This is one that it did bloom. So right here is an old flower, and there were 4 flowers on this. Again, this is the plant that I saw. I saw this on my webcam, and on my remote camera, and it was a real splash of color here. There were, when I came back, and the other flowers have since fallen off, but there were at least 4 flowers on this bloom spike. I hadn't seen this bloom before. So this is Yaiko Fujiwara Paradise. So this is this is a nice plant. I've had it for a few years, never seen it bloom. The flowers online look like they're really nice. And this plant's been doing pretty well. It's not as vigorous as some of my other ones. Certainly not as vigorous as Odom's Grand Delight here. But it still really is it's a nice plant, and it has a nice flower, and I'm just a little disappointed that I wasn't here when it bloomed. One of the other ones I want to show you is this plant right here, and I've got to look at the name. The tag is faded on this, but this is a Miltassia Dark Star Darth Vader. And the flowers are pretty, I mean, they're pretty nice, they're pretty big. This is one plant that, where the plant fell when I was gone. So it's got another bloom coming, but this is, I mean, the blooms are really nice. No fragrance to it, which is disappointing, but this got mashed, so this bloom right here is gone. It really it was on the ground when I got back, and this bloom, it just is. I think it was a really nice blooming plant, but I didn't get to see really much of it. It's okay, but if it wouldn't have fallen, it would have been a lot better. Okay, so that's all I wanted to share with you today. If you're interested, if you like this video and you're interested in seeing more of my videos, it would help me out if you could click on like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. So that's all I have for today. I'm gonna go start getting these guys ready for Hurricane Ian. The wind started to pick up, but it's gonna get much worse. I think I'm gonna stay in town. It's still the forecast. We'll see where it goes. It's still a few days away, but I think I'm gonna stay in town, get these guys a little bit more secure than they are now. So again, that's all I have for today, and happy propagating.